All right. Hello and good afternoon. I'm getting on here to respond to a post that's pending in GPU. I want to go ahead and just record a response so that I'm able to share a little bit more deeply about the different aspects and dynamics that I see here. The post, the general topic is same page parenting. However, I do think that the dynamics of the relationship, um, and the specific details definitely play into the advice that I would want to give around same page parenting. Now, I feel like same page parenting can be a really, really great thing. It is so amazing and truly a privilege to have a partner that is on this path and journeying alongside us to being the best parent that we can be. Um, so let me just get right into this post and then I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and insights. Um, So the post reads, "Please be gentle with me. My parents were so the opposite of the parent that I am, continuously tried to be. My daughter has grown up into a mommy's girl, and I love it, always. Yet it is so hard when my partner has to figure out how to comfort her and does little things that are not the parenting I want to do slash give. Now, it's the little things. He would never harm or neglect her. He's stern when he needs to be. I think it's more him losing his patience so much faster than me. It's him not being able to comfort her, especially at nighttime battles. He has a lot of work to unpack, and it's like he avoids it. But I have such a hard time with overstepping, sometimes even in front of our daughter. I do not want to do that anymore. I know he will be the parent he strives to be at the end of the day, and that's his journey and choice. But how do I stop? How do I learn to accept his journey and choice? How do I learn to accept that what he says not what mommy wants? Because then I am against him and not being a team. More intentional willpower, I guess. I'm not sure what I'm looking for here. I feel like I've messed up so much by overstepping and her seeing that. I feel for him because in turn he beats himself up, and that's never my intentions. But I understand. Um, and then the final line reads, "Please, gentle parent me." And so, that is really what I want to do, anonymous member. I want to like reach out and give you a hug. I feel like there is so much to unpack here in this post itself. Like I was saying, in like ideal circumstances, same page parenting is awesome. There is some language about power dynamics here in this post that I want to start by having a little look at those. And I'm also wondering because it looks like there might be a little bit of false equivalency here too, that your partner isn't able to comfort your child because of behaviors that you have exhibited. And, you know, I want to assure you that that's not true. Your partner has a bit more of a challenge to be able to comfort your child because he's not the primary caregiver. And because of that, he doesn't tune into her needs and the different ways that she needs to be cared for. But there's some things here in your specific language, like you say he doesn't know how to comfort her. Um, and then, talking about how um, he does little things that are not the parenting that I want to do and give. Comforting somebody is seeking ways to offer comfort, not asking them to stop crying or telling them it's time to lay down. Comforting is, I see you, feel you, hear you, understand you. And so it's really no wonder that he's struggling to comfort her when he appears, from the little snapshot I have here, to be getting frustrated with her instead of offering comfort. And frustration is going to be the opposite of what somebody needs when it's time to comfort them. And as I mentioned, when somebody's not the primary caregiver, they do have to work a little bit harder to build the connection in order to be a person who can offer comfort. And that's not something that comes from you or your behavior or things that you can do or change. That's about your spouse and the relationship that he is able to build with your daughter and the amount of comfort that his energy exudes when he is around her. Um, so that aspect of it is really, really important. It's like we can turn around and blame somebody else for everything. uh, but a lot of times, if we look within ourselves, our answers are kind of there to begin with. And you know, just reading through this and knowing what I know about humans and family structures, I really feel that it's kind of your husband's job to work on building a better relationship and connection with her and managing his own sense of emotional regulation when he is managing his own sense of emotional regulation when he's helping her to fall asleep. Um, and that's something else that I wanted to address in this post is, a specific wording tells me a lot of things. And here the wording is he's losing his patience specifically in nighttime battles. And I gotta say, if we're approaching bedtime like it's a nighttime battle, it's going to be a self fulfilling prophecy. And here's why: because in order for the brain to shut off and allow the nervous system to shut off so that all the little systems are functioning in a succession with each other. And that's what allows us to go to sleep. Now, one of the things that we need in order to fall asleep is safety and security. And if the person who's trying to put us to sleep, and I know it's hard because we're already tired, like we're parents, um, we're busy, we have a lot going on. Oh God, I love this technology, right? I'm like, finally get my house quiet place, and then my and then my messenger just wants to pop open right in the middle of my screen share. Oh shoot, I'm keeping it. Oh, anyhow. um, so you know, creating safety, creating an environment for sleep, managing our own energies. Oh yeah, like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. um, that when we're getting upset and losing our patience, we're doing a thing that directly makes it harder for that kiddo to fall asleep. So, um, shifting the energy around sleep and bedtime, even in the way we think about it and express it when like we're talking about it, shifting it from being a battle to more of a, like the nighttime routine or the thing that is coming, or however we want to look at it in a way that doesn't set it up to be a battle. Because like I said, when it becomes a battle, then um it just becomes so much hard to manage, and it extends the thing longer by not creating that safe environment for sleep. So moving on a little bit, and again, I want to commend you. I think it's really important to evaluate our adult relationships, and I do think that it's wonderful to do our best to be on the same page with our partner. And I also think it's completely 100% okay and actually advisable to call our partner out on less than gentle treatment in front of our child, and not with malice or anger or you're a bad personness, but with advocacy. And this is really important. And I'm going to reread this language right here because, um, you know, the power dynamic and the structure that I see here. Um, well, I just don't feel like it's healthy. I don't think that it's healthy much for you, and I don't think it's healthy much for your child. Um, And this isn't to say that your husband is a bad person in any way, but here's the thing. Uh, when we get down to, um, you know, what he says goes, not what mom wants, because then I'm against not being against him and not being a team. Well, that's not necessarily true. And in some cases, if you're being less than gentle, then I hope also that he could call you out in the same ways. And I think that the treatment that we accept of our children is the treatment that our children learn is acceptable. And this is why I think it's actually important that we call each other out, is that when your daughter gets the message that a man, even her father, who loves her, is able to overpower her and do things that felt uncomfortable, even to her mother. Um, that it's the beginning stages of like abuse conditioning. Those are the first messages that tell us that we should comply to things that maybe don't feel right. And um what he says may or may not go. Now there may be times where getting behind him and being on the same page is 100% appropriate. However, there are also times when that could be silencing of stepping up that felt to you like you needed and wanted to do. And that's the next thing that I wanted to address about this is that um you know, these things that he's doing, they may not be harm and they may not be neglect. However, they're outside the realm of what you're comfortable with. They're so far outside the realm of what you're uncomfortable with that you're stepping up and stepping in and saying something. So, you know, that's valuable. That's valuable information about you and your values, what you're willing to accept. And simply ignoring that and using more willpower and allowing things that you're not comfortable with to continue to transpire, regardless of where they fall on like a scale of harm, like that really does not matter much. It just like what matters is your values and that this thing doesn't feel comfortable to you. And the thing is that, it's like we already know that it's stuff that falls into categories of stuff that just isn't in alignment with you, with who you are as a parent, with gentle parenting. And it's stuff that you're working to undo in yourself, and you really wish he would undo in himself. And so asking you to just silence your feelings over that doesn't feel incredibly appropriate. And it kind of sends out some red flags for me there. Um, so, you know, to break this down, there's definitely some more work to be done, some more reflecting to be done on both of your parts, right? And understanding the the concepts and the impact that has on your values and your relationship and all of that. And I just want to reiterate again that the way she's responding to him as far as like not wanting him to be the one offering comfort, that is completely developmentally appropriate behavior for a secondary caregiver. And that is okay. Now, the like a majority, there's not a ton of things that like most people engage in, but a majority of children really do have that primary need and attachment to that primary caregiver. And um, in order for a child to willingly accept comfort from somebody else, regardless of any like getting grumpy or losing patience or being snappy or any of that other stuff, um, really like in simple words, what it takes is just him showing her that he's kind of cool and that he's just as cool to be around as mom. And, that's not going to be foolproof. And sometimes she'll need you more simply because of the fact that you're there more. You understand her better and her needs better. You've been able to meet her needs before she was able to express her needs. So, there may be times that even if he acts really wonderful and great and connects with her on a deep level, there may be times he's still not able to comfort her. But he'll be able to do that more often than not if he steps up to the plate and does some of his own work on having a good connective relationship with her. Um, and, I want to reiterate again that if we don't like something and we see something that we don't like, it is not that whatever whoever's doing the thing says goes. That is coming from a power dynamic. And in fact, it's putting you below the power dynamic to where you're feeling like your values are less than his final word. And I really want to empower all women and daughters and anybody who is going to be in relationships to not accept that kind of like final wording in a family, because in a healthy family structure, leadership, yes, but power overriding final words, especially when it comes to things like well-being and stuff like that. Um, it definitely is something that needs to be evaluated and looked at and unpacked so that, we're able to pass on healthier cycles to our children.